Good morning. When I was 4 years old, I loved to go outside and attempt to play any and every sport known to man with my brother and my father. Since I was so young, I don't really think my brother and my father enjoyed me being out there because they were at the age where my brother could sort of give my dad a good game, but I was so young I was totally useless. One day, while I was eating lunch with my mother, I saw that my brother and father were playing wiffle ball out in the backyard. I ran up to my playroom to get my big barrel wiffle ball bat and started running out to the yard. When I got up there, I went up to my dad and asked, "Can I play?" And to this day, I'm still not sure what he said, but from the home video my mom was filming at the time, he simply grabbed the bat out of my hand and threw it away from where they were playing to imply get lost. Now, most 4-year-olds would go running to their mom crying, but I did not do this. I ran over to the bat, picked it up, and ran back to my dad and asked the same question, "Can I play?" As most of you can probably guess, my dad did the same thing. Now, my only guess as to why he would do this to me is either he was teaching me a lesson about not giving up on something you want, or he was losing to my brother and getting very annoyed that I was bothering him in this very important wiffle ball game. My support system has always been a huge factor in my life, and everyone in it means the world to me. Now, I am sure most of you are wondering as to why I started off telling this story if I'm talking about my support system. But to me, that's how I'm used to living my life. My parents, the Brooks community, and my friends have always pushed me to become better at every aspect of my life. That day is the day that I will always think back to as to how my parents would raise me. My parents always expected me, my brother, and my sister to try as hard as we could in everything we do and not give up on what we want. The Brooks community has done so much for me that I would have never expected to do when thinking about attending a boarding school. As most of you know, Mr. Foley, Pat, is my cousin. Before I started coming to Brooks, Pat and I did not have much of a relationship at all. I mean, sure, I was named after him, and he was my godfather, but we never really saw each other except for certain holidays. Even then, we really didn't speak much. I would assume this was because of our huge age difference and lack of having things in common at the time, but despite this, our relationship has changed immensely throughout my years at Brooks. It all started at my house on Christmas Day when he made a sly joke about me going to Brooks and playing for him on the football team. At the time, I kind of just laughed and shook it off as if it was another awkward conversation we always used to have at these family parties. However, after everyone left and a couple days passed, the whole idea of me repeating a year and attending a school like Brooks never left my mind. I talked to my parents about it and decided that it would indeed be in my best interest to schedule a visit and apply to Brooks. After getting in and choosing to attend, I was obviously nervous and concerned about how I would fit in and how I would succeed. But to be completely honest, I was by far the most nervous about what to call Pat by. I remember having multiple conversations with my parents about if I should call him Coach Foley, Mr. Foley, Foley, or Pat. And still to this day, I get pretty nervous as to what to call him when I see him on campus. Pat has done anything and everything to help me succeed at Brooks. This wasn't just on the field, but in the classroom as well. Ever since the first day I arrived on campus, he has always made sure I was getting the grades I need to be successful here. As a coach, Pat is the best there is. The amount of time and effort he puts into making the team successful is unprecedented and never goes unnoticed by the players and team. I remember after losing to Hampton Hall my junior year in a knapsack bowl game, walking off the field with him, he stated, "We will be back." And this year we just did that. We went on to win a knapsack bowl game 24-14 over New Hampton. And I firmly believe that this is mainly due to his preparation and love for the game of football. I will never forget the moments we shared on the field after big wins and tough losses, because he was always there for me and the team no matter what happened. I could not thank Pat enough for the things he and his family has done for me here. Words can't describe how much you mean to me and how thankful I am that we have the relationship we share with each other today. Academically, I would not say I'm the smartest or most hardworking student here. But being at Brooks made me realize how much the teachers want each and every one of us to succeed. From the first day arriving on campus, my advisor, Willie Waters, has always pushed me to become a better student. When I got my first Spanish test back, I immediately went down to show Willie, and we both knew at this moment I was just in big trouble. And instead of just telling me to study harder, Willie took me up to the Learning Center, introduced me to Miss Hamilton, and we figured out a plan to help me increase my Spanish abilities. Before the start of every semester or every mid-year checkpoint, Willie and I would always go over the grades I received and talk about improvements I could make to see my grades get higher. Through him always pushing me to become better academically, I have him to thank for giving me the confidence and believing in myself with the upcoming challenges I will soon have to face being away at college. Another person that has played a major role in my support system is my father. As previously told in this speech, my father has pushed me to become not only a better athlete, but a better person. Without him, I truly do not know where I would be today. As most of you know, I take sports very seriously, and usually on game days, I don't like to engage in conversation. I zone everything out and just put my headphones on and listen to music. This whole routine started in the 4th grade, beginning of the football season. My brother would always listen to music before his games, and I would just not mentally be there. So when we were driving to Marblehead for my first game, I was probably talking about something other than sports. My dad had enough. He told me to start focusing on the game and get mentally prepared for what I'm going to get myself into. He said, try and listen to some pump-up music to get you focused. And once he put his playlist on the speakers, I was hooked on the idea immediately. By the end of the season, I remember begging my father to play the playlist he made for me because he became so annoyed by it because I was always playing it in my room, before practice, and even before school, that he talked to me about it only working the night before and the day of games. Another thing my father has instilled in me is respect everyone, regardless of the circumstances. In 5th grade, I would get off the bus at around 3:15 and have football practice at around 4:30. So typically, my mother and father would make me do my homework before leaving for practice. This way, I would have it done and not be able to use the excuse, I'm too tired to do my homework because of practice. Well, this one particular day, I decided to lie to my parents and not do my homework and tell them that I indeed did do it. So before leaving, my mother asked me, Pat, can I check over your homework? And I snapped back, it's done. And when she turned away from me, I flipped her off. Well, I wasn't thinking too much because my father was looking at me the whole time. He jumped out of the car and began to yell at me as to why that was not okay. Most 5th graders would not let this affect them and continue flipping people off, I believe. And I'm pretty sure my dad knew this as well. So as a consequence, he made me go to my coach and tell him what I did and that my father's not letting me play in the huge 5th grade football game against our rival. With my father doing this at the time, I absolutely hated him. But thinking back on it now, if he would have never taken this action, I may have never shown the respect I show to people in my everyday life. Dad, thank you for being my role model, the person I go to for problems, and the reason why I am the person I am today. My family has always said I am the spitting image of you, and if that's the case, I'll be very successful in life moving forward. Mom, thank you for everything. I will never hesitate to admit that I am and will forever be a mama's boy. The little things you do to show the love and care you have for Megan, Tim, and I never go unnoticed. For all 3 years I've attended Brooks, every single day at around 5 at night, I would hear my phone buzz, see a text from my mother asking, when will you be home, drive safe. At points early on, I would feel like this is the most annoying text. But in the last But in the last 2 years, I became very grateful to have a mother who cares about me this much to send the same exact text every night for 3 years. The adjustment I will soon have to make without living with you will be extremely tough, especially not having to do my laundry, cook me food, and all the other things you do for me. Our connection started to begin around the age of 3. My mom was the varsity field hockey coach for North Denver High School, and she would always have games and practices during the fall and was never able to pick me up from school. So instead of hiring a babysitter, she'd always take me to practice and games. I was always by my mom's side during practice, warming up the goalie before games, and always trying to convince her to let me grab a stick and practice with the team. As I got older, about 6 or 7, my roles on the team increased. My mother would allow me to start doing drills with the team, playing with the inter-squad scrimmages, ride the bus home from away games, and run the sidelines for loose balls during the home games. But as time moved on and I grew older, I no longer could go to practice and our games because of my own commitments. My mom, still coaching at this time, began to realize how hard it would be to still coach and come see me and my brother play football in the fall. So in the end, my mother decided to retire from coaching to show her utmost support in me and my brother's athletic careers. This just goes to show how my mother is willing to sacrifice anything and everything to make sure she is always there to support me and my siblings. Mom, the sacrifice you have made to help me come to Brooks will never go unnoticed, and I will forever be grateful for it. The love you have shown to me and everything I will forever be cherished, and the care you have shown to me every aspect in my life will forever be held close to my heart. Brooks, thank you for giving me the most meaningful education I could have ever dreamed of, and for helping me become a better student athlete during my 3 years on campus. I guess people are right when they say, you aren't going to know it now, but time does fly, and we're going to miss this place like crazy. It still feels like yesterday that I was at sophomore, hearing these same exact speeches, and just brushing them off like it did not apply to me. Underclassmen, do not waste time on anything, do not waste any time wishing you could do something. Go out and do it. Dad, thank you for showing me the ways to become a well-respected person, for allowing me to pursue my dreams. None of this would have been possible without you by my side, and I cannot wait to try and make you a proud father in my future endeavors. Mom, not a day will go by where I won't miss coming home after a long day of school and giving you a hug. I will forever cherish the lessons you have taught me and the memories we have created together. I will miss not seeing you every day, but just know I will always be thinking about you. Thank you.